This afternoon, and to those joining us on television, radio, and on the internet. Joined by John Ferguson, who will begin with an opening statement, then we'll take questions and have brief time for some one-on-ones afterwards. So please wait for the microphone to be presented to you before you ask your questions again. At this time, I'll introduce Mr. Ferguson. John?
Thank you, John, and welcome to you all. It's been my honor and a privilege to serve as the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs Hockey Club. The tradition and success of this organization, well known, well regarded, and it's been my privilege serving as the general manager. I want to thank our board for the tremendous opportunity. I want to thank our great Maple Leafs fans, our players, our coaches, of course, my family, for their unwavering support. I'm proud of my record here. I've learned a great deal, and I'm excited for my next challenge. Thank you. I can take questions.
John, did you feel that during your time here you always had the freedom to make the moves that you felt necessary to make? Did you ever feel restricted by the board? And B, how did you feel about the way you were treated in the last week or so when this process just dragged on and on?
Thank you, David. No, absolutely. I said it when I got here and say it right now. I have had all of the duties typically reserved to the general manager. Everyone reports to superiors, to boards. Our club's no different. I sought the responsibility and the accountability as the general manager, and I acted accordingly. Regarding this process, I respect the ownership's right to make a change. Every organization has that right, and it's been exercised. As I said, I'm proud of my record here. I've learned a tremendous amount, and there have been somewhere in the neighborhood 11 general managers hired since I've been here, and again, I am excited about my next opportunity.
John, when you look back at your time here in Toronto, is there anything that you would do over again if you had the chance to?
Well, it's a great deal. I mean, we can look back with 20/20 hindsight and really rehash any number of transactions, decisions. That's part of being a general manager. Up until this point earlier today, my focus solely has been on getting this club back on track and making the decisions in the best interest of the organization for the current and long-term future success. So really, I haven't had an opportunity to review everything. As I said, I've learned a great deal. We all learn from experience, and I'm better off for it, and I believe this club is as well.
John, there was a lot of speculation about your future in the last 10 days or so. Even though when you found out from Richard Petty this morning, were you still surprised to a certain degree?
You know, it's interesting. I mean, it's hard to really describe the sense. Again, my focus and attention was solely on the task at hand. That continued through some hours ago, and while not expected, again, I respect our board and our ownership's right to make a change.
John, two questions. One, what time did they tell you and how did they tell you today?
I spoke with Richard Damien sometime around 10:30 or so, and you know, go ahead.
I was going to say, did you feel that without the contract extension this season, and obviously the lame duck label was attached to you, that it compromised your ability to do your job effectively? You know,
I had discussions to that end previously, and even more than a year ago, to that end, and it led to the club picking up my option last November. So those discussions were held, and you know, it's a matter of perception in the sports business, and I'm going to be judged on my record. I'm proud of that record, and again, I respect the right of Richard and our board to make the decision, and looking forward to moving on and excited about what may come later.
John, over here. As much as this is a day no one wants to come, and as much as it's you said you were focused on the job you were doing, I think for anyone who's ever had job security questioned, they know what it feels like. Is there any sense of relief that there's at least some finality and ending today?
No. This, as a competitor, you always believe that you will succeed and see things through, and I feel that's the way I feel.
And I know, John, that we spoke, you tried to maintain that focus that you talked about, but something seemed to change from our end after the California trip. That seemed to be a barrier for whatever reason. You knew that Cliff's name was out there all this time. Was it part of you? Did you feel like a bit of a dead man walking the last 5 or 6 days as you tried to concentrate here?
No, Howard, no, not at all. And it is no different than what we demand of our athletes and our coaches, to block out distractions in this market and to conduct yourselves as a professional and to do your job accordingly. My job is no different, and that's the way I carried it out. The focus was on making decisions, contacting my counterparts, preparing for the draft, for the top prospects game, and obviously for February 26th. So not in the least.
Was there any thought or discussion on either side about you remaining in the organization in another role?
We didn't get into that, and from what I understand, that wasn't part of the thinking. No.
John, I know you're not one to point fingers, but bottom line is, for this year's team, did it underachieve?
Well, we feel we have a better team than our record reflects, and I could put that in the past tense now, without a doubt. I mean, we sat down before most of you and felt we had a playoff club, and I don't feel any differently today. We did, however, there were a couple of situations, obviously, with Wellwood and Kolyakovo, who we anticipated being healthy going into camp, and did not anticipate Bell being suspended for that time, at that time. But we feel we've got a better club than our record reflects.